Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time from Mr. Leeman. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box under the video. Now this is for a film from 1958 called The Vikings, which stars Kirk Douglas, Tony Curtis, Janet Leigh from Psycho, Ernest Borgnine, and it's from the director that were going to do Conan the Destroyer and Red Sonja, both with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Richard Fleischer, I believe his name. And it's one of those films back in the day that was one of those epic films. At the very least, it's a little under 2 hours, so it doesn't, overstay its welcome too much. Kirk Douglas, I gotta say, man, I grew up more with his son, Michael Douglas. Love Michael Douglas. Falling Down, The Game, Black Rain. But man, like, the older Michael Douglas gets, the more he does remind me of his dad, Kirk Douglas. And Kirk Douglas led a full life. He lived up to, 103 before he passed away? Pretty admirable. And he did Spartacus with Stanley Kubrick. He did, he did some stuff in the 80s. This one I did not mind called Tough Guys. He had a bit role in Oscar with Sylvester Stallone where he played Stallone's father at the beginning. I liked that bit. The movie has some really nice locations because they shot, where was it? I want to say it was the Fords of Norway. Yeah, the Fords of Norway. So you have some nice locales, and also the way the ships, the long ships, the long boats, the gear looks pretty damn decent. Pretty much the gist of it is the teen is dead from these Vikings, and of the Vikings, Ernest Borgnine raped this queen. She's pregnant, but she doesn't want people to know, otherwise the baby could be in jeopardy. So she gives birth. The baby is trying to be taken to safety. One thing leads to another. The baby is inadvertently, taken by the Vikings to raise his own. I can't even say their own. He becomes a slave as part of the Vikings, and that grows up to be Tony Curtis's character. Because then it cuts to many years later. Tony Curtis is a slave. Ernest Borgnine is still the leader of the Vikings, and then you have Kirk Douglas, who's his son. Unbeknownst to Kirk Douglas, him and Tony Curtis are half brothers, same father, but no one knows that yet. So Tony Curtis is a slave. Kirk Douglas fucks with them, so Tony Curtis sits his falcon on the guy and takes out one of Kirk Douglas's eyeballs out. And he's pissed. He's like, but no, we're not going to kill him. We're going to make him suffer. So they put him in this body of water, waiting for him to drown. But this woman says, hey, be careful, Odin. I think he has plans for this guy. And then, lo and behold, the wind and all this stuff gets all pissed off. The weather itself gets pissed off. Has a hissy fit. And says, nope, Tony Curtis, you're not dead. In fact, fuck this water. You're alive. So we're going to use this guy, and we're going to go on this journey to overseas, where there's this princess played by Janet Leigh, who they kidnap for ransom. Tony Curtis realizes this is wrong, gets Janet Leigh out of there. Janet Leigh and him fall in love, try to escape. Some stuff goes haywire. They are able to get Ernest Borgnine and tie him up, bring him back, and I know I'm just pretty much telling the plot. I'll get to the rest later. What I did not mind about the film was the actors. I thought the actors played their roles well. Kirk Douglas, you're not really supposed to like him, but he's got that presence. Like, you see why Kirk was a star. He had that bravado. Like I said, the older Michael Douglas, yes, he reminds me so much more of his dad, and he had that factor that you see why people would follow him and listen to him, and how he could command a room. And he did a little bit of the Viking background. Like there's a bit where they think this woman's dealt with infidelity. So they like tie her up and they tie her braids up, and they have a guy swing axes. If he hits her, she's guilty. If he cuts all three braids, she's innocent. Again, I know it doesn't make sense, but again, I don't know. For those who are really, really into Viking mythology, you let me know if that's actually something that did happen, or that's total BS made up for the movie. I don't know for sure. But it's definitely a bit of an interesting scene. Tony Curtis, I mean, as a lead, he doesn't really get a whole lot of bits of dialogue, but I thought he worked fine. He worked fine for what he had to do. I mean, he doesn't have as much of a commanding presence as Kirk Douglas. And they actually were worked together again on Spartacus, but I didn't mind it. I didn't mind him for what he needed to do. Janet Leigh, being famous for Psycho, she worked fine as the princess. The music is really good by Mario Nascimbeni. Sorry, I butchered his last name. He was an Italian composer. Very good score. Fits the film well. Makes the film feel more epic. I wouldn't say there's wall-to-wall action. There's little bits here and there. It's mainly the finale where they raid the castle, get to the drawbridge. Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis have a sword fight. Pretty decent sword fight. Which, I mean, the director would then implement later with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Conan the Destroyer, Red Sonja, and such. Ernest Borgnine, definitely a different type of role for him. I mean, he's still that Borgnine charm. He's still having fun, but I mean, he's still playing a bit of a different character. Usually, he's much more of a warm-hearted character, but this is a guy that, despite his Ernest Borgnine charm, he did, you don't see it, but you get the idea. You pretty much get the aftermath that he, raped this girl and became pregnant with a child. Like I said, the where it's shot and the cinematography, the look of it, the music, they're pretty damn solid. I would say the middle section suffers the most. Like the beginning starts out with an action piece, and then you're getting to know these characters. The ending has some decent action here. The middle section feels a bit unexciting. It's not really the best part of the movie. Just depends how you feel about the Tony Curtis, Janet Leigh romance. I'm like, it's there. They're not bad. They're not awful. Like I said, it's not really the that's when the interest kind of wandered and waned for me. But then after a bit, it picked up, and I didn't mind the last bit of the movie. Spoiler alert. Brings Ernest Borgnine back. But he still doesn't know Ernest Borgnine was his father and what he did to his mom. Still doesn't know that. I thought that was an interesting choice that Tony Curtis never finds that out. It seems like normally in a film, something that important detail, he would eventually find out or eventually be told. But yet the entire movie, even by the end, he's never known, he's never told. Janet Leigh knows, but Tony Curtis is never told. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice. And he just looks at Ernest Borgnine as a guy that, he knew. He's like, do you deny me a weapon and to go to Valhalla? So Tony Curtis cuts his bonds, gives him a sword. And Ernest Borgnine, instead of trying to fight his way out, he just jumps into the pit with these starving wolves in order to go to Valhalla. And because the asshole new teen doesn't like that Tony Curtis didn't listen to him, they cut Tony Turris' hand off. Tony Turris comes back, tells him what happened to Ernest Borgnine, and this is where Jenna Leigh's at. And, Kirk Douglas and them are going to fight about it later, but until then, Tony Turris will show them the way. And, going through the fog, and, it's a lot of extras they have for the scene and the battle, and they get, like, people with axes to throw out the drawbridge, and Kirk Douglas leaps up and goes up. I mean, it's definitely that old school swashbuckling feel that you don't really get nowadays, with either overly CGI or video game CGI or cartoonist CGI, or you get CG backgrounds, or back then when they want to make a big film, they try to make as big of a film as possible, or that's all they could do, is we gotta do it for real, or as real as we can. And I do appreciate that mentality. I wish that mentality would be brought back a bit more in a lot of films today. And then again, super spoilers. Tony Turris gets the asshole Keen, pushes him down the pit. Him and Kirk Douglas have a fight. Kirk Douglas is told who Tony Turris is, but again, Tony's never told who he is. So there's a bit where they're fighting, and Kirk Douglas freezes a bit. Like, this is my brother. Tony Turris stabs him. And even Tony Turris goes, why did he hesitate? Like, why did he stop? And then, Kirk Douglas has a weapon for Valhalla, is given a Viking funeral, and there you go. I did really nice music at the end. I mean, maybe some people would want more of a modern take on Vikings, or much more of a brutal, gorier, violent version of a Viking movie. So I don't know if this would be their cup of tea. But I mean, this is 1958. It's in the time period. I wouldn't say I thought the film was amazing or anything. I thought it was pretty decent. Is it a film I would watch again? Probably not, but worth a watch? Yeah. Because I thought the actors did a decent job. If you like those old school swashbuckling type of movies, it's definitely worth it. With a bit of that Viking hint to it. Like I said, it's a decent looking movie. I said the middle portion's a bit slow and not the most exciting, but some people may think, well, Tony Turris, is he that interesting of a character? Is he that spontaneous of a presence? I thought he worked fine, but Kirk Douglas definitely stole the show. I'll say that. I mean, if you want those reversed, you go see Spartacus. But I did like the look of Kirk Douglas's when his eye's gone. He's get this bit of a wide eye. I thought that was a pretty decent look, decent effect. Epic music. Overall, a pretty decent movie. Overall, I did like it. I did enjoy it for what it was. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.